What's crack-a-lackin', everybody? We have arrived at our job site. It is on top of a mountain here in Blowing Rock. And we're getting everything set up, covering the floors, all that. Looks like we got a few things we're gonna have to move. But it is what it is. Look at this. Look at that. Alright guys, I always lay my templates out. See how everything's gonna fit and lay out and all that. So we're looking good. I gotta cut the sink down, composite sink. You always gotta cut these things down. And then we'll put the sink in the hole and then we'll start carrying our tops in. I cut this in one piece and then I cut it in half and put a seam because it was a big L and because we had this bump out and all that stuff. So and then you can see they painted over it. So it's very common to have to cut down these composite sinks. This one I've had to cut the sides twice because the cabinet's so small. I do feel, however, that if you're a customer and you're providing your sink, it should be your responsibility to make sure your sink will fit in your cabinet. It shouldn't be the guys installing the countertops to modify your sink. It just shouldn't be our responsibility. As you can see, even after cutting everything off, it barely fits. There's no room for play at all. It's just, and I can't take any more off of that. Heck, we're gonna be in the rollover of the sink. Ridiculous. All right, we got all the tops in, baby. We about to put this seam together and rock it out, baby. As you can see, all the vanes are running exactly like they're supposed to. Zoom, 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 zoom. See, we don't play that, get your vanes all mixed up and looking like freaking Helen Keller put your kitchen together. We try to do it professional. All right, I have now got the seam lined up and leveled up. I'm gonna mix my epoxy and we're gonna make this son of a biscuit disappear. All right, I got my seam lined up and I'm gonna show you guys how to make it disappear. First thing is how you cut it on the slab. I cut this all in one piece. I could barely fit it on the slab. If I had to not cut it in one piece and cut this another place, it wouldn't look this good unless the customer wanted to buy a brother-sister slab. And most people don't want to buy a secondary slab. Alright, I got my seam lined up here. I'm going to show you how to make it invisible. The first step was cutting it correctly on the slab. I cut it all in one piece. It barely fit. If it had not fit, the only option would have been for the customer to buy a secondary slab that was the brother or sister so that I could cut it properly. Alright, so I got this thing put together. I got this Aardwolf joint setter here. This thing is awesome, man. They actually sent it to me. It's battery power. I've used it about a year. I've only had to recharge this battery twice in a year. And I use it every job that has the same. Mixed the epoxy, got it down in here, pulled it together, made sure it's leveled up. You know, use a razor blade to make sure you're nice and level. This is my color I mixed for this. I pulled some off of that and put a little white and green in it, which come with my first perimeter color. Alright, we've pulled our Aardwolf joint setter off, and now we are going to scrape this with a razor blade and denatured alcohol. And this stone's tough, so you don't really have to be scared. Let's see how we're scraping her. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Alright, see how you can't really see it too much here, but you can where it's dark. We're going to fix that. Alrighty. I put a skim coat. It was a little lighter when I skimmed this area, as you can see it there. But when I went up here, I went a little darker. So we'll let that dry and polish the front, and then we'll clean it up. Alright, we've got this one done. It's not perfect. I mean, it's not like a Reno seam or anything, but I think it looks pretty good. When you get to Reno's level, you are exceptional. From over here, you know, you can't really see it. You know, If you're Reno, every shop in a 100-mile radius would be calling and begging you. I mean, most shops are looking for somebody to show up for 2 hours and then never show up again. But I don't know. If that's what causes every shop in 100 miles to call you, then I guess I'm doing it wrong. Alright guys, everything is finished here. And turned out good. Here's the same. The guy's going to put a longer piece of wood down there to keep that pulled over. I shimmed it over so that it's nice and tied up against the stone there. Guess we still got to put the drawers back in. Alrighty, this is Fantasy Brown Granite, or Dolomite actually. We're up here on top of a mountain in Blowing Rock. We started cutting this job on Monday, got it cut, fabricated, and installed. Today's Wednesday, so 3-day turnaround on this job. Turned out good.